like. And we're back, man. In fact, that's not how it should be looking. Jess and me should be looking a bit better than that. There we go. We've got Jess in the building. It's Thursdays. You know what time it is. How you doing, Jess, man? Make sure you're following her and all those things, people.
I'm good. I can't complain. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Like you said, I can't complain. We beat Inter Milan. We've got Man United. There's Julian Álvarez links. We've got a lot to discuss, man. We've got a lot to discuss. BG, appreciate you. We'll definitely answer your question about the lineup in just a sec. The first thing I want to ask you, Jess, the first thing is, before we talk about Inter and United and all them other things, I want to cast your mind back to the draw against Nottingham Forest. And I want to ask you about the game. And I want to ask you, in our last two Premier League games, obviously it's been 0-0. Are you concerned with that?
Yeah, I am. I'm concerned with anybody who's organized that defends well against us. It feels like we really struggle. And, against Liverpool was a tragedy. Like, it was so bad. But Nottingham Forest felt more akin to like what we know this team to be like when they play against a team that's not terrible, but definitely somebody we should be beating. We try to score we try really hard for like 10, 15 minutes. Then it doesn't happen. And then we just kind of start passing sideways and backwards and slowly, and nothing really happens. They don't get anything, but we also don't get anything. Even when you make changes, nothing really changes. And we have a couple of chances. And I think when we play up against these deep blocks, especially when they're really organized, you're only going to get 2 or 3 chances max. And we do get those chances. And when we don't score, we look back at those chances and people are like, we should have created more. And I'm like, yeah, maybe.
We'll take those chances.
But we should have taken those chances. And if you take that chance, the game maybe opens up and then you can do more. But if you don't take those initial chances, the game never opens up. They get comfortable. They start playing for the draw and we start panicking. Or what I think of when I think Arsenal are panicking, which is instead of pushing and taking more risks, they get more tight. They don't want to lose the ball. They don't want to, so it was a tough one. I thought Nottingham Forest was different than Liverpool. They were the scoreline, but they were different because where you could give us, we were just tragic against Liverpool. But the Nottingham Forest game is that is a situation that we are going to see a lot down the line.
And we have this season and last year as well.
Yeah, as teams get more desperate for points and they see that, Liverpool came to the Emirates and got a draw by sitting back. City came to the Emirates and sat back and got a draw. Nottingham Forest sat back at their spot and got a draw. They're going to be like, that's the way to beat them. That's the way to get something. And if we don't take those initial chances that we have, then we're never going to break it open. And sometimes you're not going to get a set piece goal to open up the game. So you got to do something else. It was really disappointing, especially since the final 15 minutes, I'm like, take off a defender. I know that he took off Zubi, but I'm like, take off a defender, take off a defender and throw another attacker on there, try to push and just start spamming crosses. And they were just pass, total around on the corners of the box. They need to figure out a way to do this, and we used to be able to do it. I remember when we played Man United at home and it was 2-2 a couple of years ago. And we had 26 shots in the final 15 minutes of that game. We took off a defender. We brought Eddie on. We had Jesus. We had all of our attackers on. And we just forced it into the back of the net. And I feel like that's what is missing. That final piece is that we have the set pieces. We have the buildup. We have the patterns. We're 99% of games, we're good. But in the odd game where we don't get that opener set piece, we really struggle to get that goal. And it's just going to get worse from here. We're not going to
How
be
much
playing.
of that is on Arteta and the players? Like, if you had to, like, where you at? Because there is sometimes where, obviously, I believe it comes from the manager. I've seen little inklings at times, like the second half against Manchester City. I would say,
Mhm.
in terms of a whole totality, in terms of a whole game, I'd say Newcastle. But more often than not, I make you right. And you know my thoughts on going down the left, going down the right. I don't believe from minute zero you need to be doing, you need to be going gun ho. But there has to be a time the handbrake goes down the kitchen sink. Also, though, I do think players, man, like, listen, me and you are probably the two biggest Odegaard fans on the platform. I'm really not trying to make this about Odegaard, but I think he's the best example. I do think we could, take the shackles off him, a bit of freedom. We all know about the press and the areas and where he has to leave it, and that's obviously an Arteta thing. But when I look at Odegaard, like, you're not Mesut Ozil, you're not Santi Cazorla, but I've seen them and they run the show. So I think you can do that. I do think Odegaard has been hiding recently. Like, he's just happy to do the given goals. Ultimately, we need a lot more like goal threat in it, or a lot more penetrative passes in the final third. Obviously, he's not alone. I'm just using him as an example. People to Saka and whatnot. So, like, how much of it is down to the players? How much of it is down to the gaffer as well, man? Because it feels like we're talking about the same things week in, week out, even though we're doing all right.
It's tough because, where I want to blame Mikel, I just feel like, I saw there was like a moment in the game where we're probing or doing whatever.
I'm sure I even saw you tweet that, tweet something along them lines as well. I've after Liverpool, but I think it was after Nottingham Forest, where you're like, you didn't say the players are getting away with murder, but they're getting away with murder. And
I do,
right.
I do think they are. I think that there was, during the Nottingham Forest game, there was one moment where Saliba has the ball and we're probing and they're sitting back in their block and Arteta's telling him to pass it forward and he passes it sideways and Arteta absolutely loses his fucking mind. He's like, Willow, and he puts his hand up and whatever. And I'm like, in moments like that, that does not align with the narrative that Arteta's telling them to not pass.
All these players say he wants them to play with freedom and that.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe it's Arteta. I think it's like a psychological thing.
I think they need to let their nuts hang a bit more, man, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's like, if we don't want to lose, but we know we're susceptible to the losing the ball while we're trying to do this probing, and the opposition having like a 2v2 or, a 3v2. We know we're susceptible to that. We've seen it before. It's happened to us plenty of times. And I feel like maybe there's a little bit of that. They're trying to find that perfect pass because they feel like if they lose it, then instead of drawing 0-0, you lose 1-0. And
but that might save us in other games, though. And granted, if that happens, we will bitch and say, "Why is Arteta doing X, Y, Z?" But again, it feels like deja vu, just because I do feel like me and you have, whenever we do this platform, either on my channel or yours, make sure you're subscribing. We are kind of talking about the same things, and I'm sure last week or the week before, you mentioned this, and I also made you right because I said it might shag you in one game, but there might be another time where you need to go for it, and the handbrake down gets you out of it. I do want to ask another question, just like, to be fair though. Are we bitching for no reason? Because we're still in all comps. We've done what we needed. We'll get into the champs, people, but we're in the champs. Obviously, we're vexed that we dropped points against Nottingham Forest. We saw City and Liverpool drop points. Sorry, Liverpool as well, Villa as well. Are we bitching for no reason? Like, because we know it can't be perfect. Are we doing too much, or is it deja vu and the fine margins?
No, I mean, I still think that, like, there's a level of conversation and critique that should happen, even though we're in a good position, and I feel like saying, but we're 7 points clear, does not preclude us from having conversations about how we can be better within the 90-minute context of the Nottingham Forest game. Doesn't mean you're, what do you guys say, like throwing toys out the pram. It doesn't mean you're like losing everything, but there still should be a level of critique, especially since we haven't won anything before. So there's always going to be an element of, well, how can this hurt us down the line? And we don't want that. And I'm pretty sure that the players and the manager are having those same conversations. When you see Declan Rice at the end of that game saying like, oh, it's shit, they're not saying, but we're 7 points clear, are they? So I don't think being 7 points clear, which we did not know we were going to end up being at full time after Nottingham Forest, right? I don't think that precludes us from critiquing what, in my opinion, has been two poor performances back to back in the Premier League, you know? So yeah, I get it that some people there's always a minority that takes it too far. But I think the majority of Arsenal fans are having these conversations, but also saying, but we're still in a good position, which we are. But it's still a long way to go, guys. Still a long way to go. I saw like a tweet going by about Manchester United in the season that Manchester City won the league. You know, they won the league with the Aguero goal, and how they were like 8 points clear with 6 games to go or something like that. And I'm like, we were in a similar situation, but they were even like further down the line and still didn't end up winning it. And I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen to us, but we have to kind of keep our feet on the ground a little bit. It's not a foregone conclusion. We still need to get better. Things could still get harder, you know, so I don't think there's anything wrong with having these conversations at all.
I don't think there's anything wrong. I'm a big fan of auditing the performance. Sometimes you can lose playing well. Sometimes you can win playing poorly. Sometimes you can draw when you deserve neither more or less in the game. So I'm all on, you know, I know the majority of Arsenal fans, and they're not wrong, you know, like we're still in the title race. We know we can't win every game. We know we're not going to get all the points. And I hear the frustrations with it could have been it feels like another, not missed opportunity, but missed opportunity with, you know, hindsight being a wonderful thing. We could have made ground if we beat Nottingham Forest. For me personally, I'm just vexed with the performance because of everything you said and everything we're no doubt going to mention. Because I think if the performance is there, obviously we win the game, and everything that people are angry about, that you obviously get that. And I do kind of feel we're talking about the same things. Obviously, you know, I know the players are trying, I know the gaffer's trying, and I'm just an armchair expert. But, you know, me and you are still talking about low blocks and deep blocks. We're still talking about having players that have those moments. We're still questioning in certain in-game management decisions. And this has been a long season and we've got a long way to go. But me and you have been doing videos on our own channels and in general. I'm sure we spoke about this kind of stuff last year and the year before. And I know it's not easy, but I still think we haven't kind of mitigated against them. So, those kind of things. I did want to ask you another question. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you make about the left-hand side? Because I do feel when we're not really inverting per se from the left-hand side as much. For me, I do think Arteta has evolved in some aspects, but I do think he's reverted back to type. And what I mean by that is Calafiori's been injured. We've gone back to just inverting down the right-hand side. Everything down the left is meaty. I think our centre-halves are on the ball far too much, like in the Nottingham Forest game. I think with Calafiori's injury and build-up play, I wanted to see Saliba on the ball a bit more, like what we're seeing, because he's great. But I feel like we're doubling down on that too much. And I do think it kills. We all know Declan Rice isn't exactly, you know, the 8 we want to see, but I think it kills him. I think it kills anybody at left back, especially with Timber inverting. And whoever's up front, it kind of kills that kind of angle on the pitch. Like, what do you make of that? Or am I doing too much?
You know what? I just think that, like, this has been kind of like a thing for a long time. You know, the left-hand side has been a conversation for 3 seasons now. It just doesn't feel fluid. And to be honest, it hasn't felt super fluid and complimentary since Xhaka left. So I'm kind of just used to it kind of looking a little hodgepodge. The only time it looks good is when Calafiori is there. And it's basically because he's just doing individualism, you know, just freak of nature, unicorn football, and just doing his own thing and just making it look better. I think him and Trossard are our best combination down that left, and he's not there. So it just kind of is what it is. Like, I think there's a couple of different things. Like, you know, you see like Miles out there, he's kind of fighting for his life right now. So as long as he has a solid game, I'm kind of like okay with it. I don't expect to get the performances of last season. And then you have, if Timber plays over there, it's just to keep them from scoring thing. That's basically what it is down that side. With the left wing, I don't know. It's just whoever's playing better at the time. It's one of those things where I kind of feel like it's been so weird for so long that we just kind of have to like grin and bear it into the end. But when you're relying on somebody that's kind of injury prone to be the key to unlock that side, you're kind of wishing on a star, and it's like it's probably not going to happen. So we just have to figure out a way to make it just work enough, you know, and I don't really know how to do that. We know it's going to be Declan. it's going to be whoever's fit at left wing and whoever's in the best form at or left back and whoever's the most in form at left wing. That's pretty much one thing I will say, though. I think more than the left-hand side, though, is I feel like Arteta's one thing I will kind of criticize him for is I don't feel like he picks complementary profiles in that front three. And I think that hurts us more.
Expand on that. I weren't happy with the front three against Forest, but expand on that for those that don't know what you're referring to.
It was whack. Like, it was whack as fuck. I was like, dog, like this for me was like we started that like something like that against Portsmouth. And it was so frustrating.
Meaty.
Yeah, to me it was frustrating. But it was like, we're rotating. That's cool. But when you look at the group of games that we got, you know, and you look in between, let's just say Portsmouth, Nottingham Forest, and Inter, the game that sticks out to you as the most important one that you absolutely need to play well in is Forest. And we know that whether they work together or not, our most in form and probably best group of wingers is going to be Saka and Trossard. So why didn't you go with that? There is nothing going on between
one of them being dropped out. Could be frustrated, but understand both.
Yeah, both.
I'm not hearing it because I think guys are lying about the injury. I'll be real. Big up Arteta, but I just think you're saying. I think you tried to give Madueke an opportunity. It didn't bang. Now you're saying, oh yeah, Saka had a bit of a knock because we can't prove that, innit? And all managers do that.
I think he was doing like, I don't know. I don't know what 100% what I think. All I know is Saka said he's not fit enough. That's cool. That's cool.
I don't believe that, man. That's crap, man.
But that doesn't have anything to do with Trossard either. Because I'll tell you one thing for sure is that if there's one player that's been able to kind of find Gyökeres, it's been Trossard. He's the only one that can do that little pass that he does in behind to Gyökeres. So Gyökeres and Trossard is the only thing that I know of that works on that side. And we know that Martinelli works well with Jesus. Saka kind of works well with everyone. Let's try to put complementary profiles together so we get the best thing. You know, if you play against Portsmouth, it's okay to play Jesus and Martinelli together.
Do your thing, yeah.
But when you're playing against Nottingham Forest, if you're going to play Gyökeres,
all managers are liars, man, Ash, man.
Yeah, you got to have Trossard. You have to have Trossard. You have to, you got to, So that to me frustrates me more because I feel like we've gone long enough with a group of attackers where we kind of know what kind of works and what doesn't. And that felt like a weird choice to me. Now, that's compounded by the fact that, I was a little annoyed with Martinelli for missing that chance. But at the same time, I don't know.
I can't even get annoyed no more. Like, you're right. I am annoyed, yeah. But like, if Odegaard's getting muscled out of a 50-50, if Martinelli is making bewildering decisions in the Premier League versus the champs, I'm not being funny. We've seen this, innit? Like, I can get frustrated, but it's like having a family member that keeps making the wrong decisions, keeps doing questionable things. And at some point, you just have to accept them for what they are. I have to look at, bro, this is what we're trying to win a league with this. It's a bit scary.
Yeah, we just... Listen, if you're in a position where you have to win a game or it's an important game, go with the people that have at least performed really well in that particular
Bring that off the bench.
This season, that's been Trossard. At least go with that. And the thing about Trossard and Saka versus Madueke and Martinelli is Saka and Trossard do not treat the ball like a bomb. I feel like Madueke and Martinelli are kind of hot potato players. It's like they want it and then they kind of try to do something. They may lose it. They're not as reliable.
Nelly's the worst.
Keeping it.
Like that.
Trossard and Saka will get the ball and kind of dribble around and keep it and can go towards our goal and hold off defenders. And you need that when you're playing against deep blocks because there's no space to run in. There's no space to run in behind. Like, you need somebody that's going to keep the ball and make the decisions, right? It was a strange choice. I feel like that to me was more concerning than the left-hand side, which has been basically a dumpster fire for like 3 years now. Like, I've accepted that it's whoever's fit at left back, whoever's most in form at left wing, and Rice. Like, I've accepted it.
The only thing I expect from the left-hand side is our left back. Like, obviously, when Callum Fury was properly fit and Timber was fit, you know, I won't quite say we had balance, but it looked like we had balance. Statistically, them lot were touching the ball in the opposition's box a bit more. Arteta was trying, in my opinion, 1-2 different things. I feel now with the Callum Fury injury, potentially Hincapié, I do think he's reverted back to type and doubling down the right. And it's a bit weird with Timber because there was a point he looked very good down that left-hand side. And obviously, he's gone back to the right, been in a good moment, locking it down, undertaking whatever Arteta's telling you to do there.
Yeah.
And you've gone back. It's like you're learning it's like you aced one subject at school and you've gone and you're learning a new thing. And you look a bit out of sorts. Now, I understand it. Lewis-Skelly's, you know, in a real bad moment of form. Yeah. But it just feels like we're going to type. I do think Arteta's getting back to that. I'm sticking to the system. This guy might be 10 out of 10 and there's an injury. I'm going to go with him. Like, even when he takes off Odegaard for Marino. I get that. I was calling for that in the Nottingham Forest game. But it's Marino might not be Odegaard, but he's operating in the same kind of vein. Jess, you got a couple of questions and keep people get your questions in. I kind of want to do something a bit different with this last
Not too much on Saka, by the way, guys. Not too much on Saka. I don't think he's trying to keep Gyökeres from scoring goals.
He's trying to keep Gyökeres from scoring. Declan Rice is playing up the cameras for saying it's effing shit. Arsenal fans are onto everyone, man. They were gassing up Noni. Now they're onto Noni, which I like Noni, but I hold Noni accountable for his performances. But Noni Madueke, I'm sorry, that's on Mikel Arteta. You know he's a decent player that struggles to score goals. We know we need bagsmen at this team to get to the next level. You've got to make that work. The first one is from someone that's actually been hating in my YouTube chat, but nonetheless, people. Gooner SE has said, #AskJess, thoughts on Odegaard. He's been mean.
I thought he was really poor against Nottingham Forest and he deserved to be hooked. But beyond that, I don't know what else you guys want me to say. Like, I'm not going to say
hang him out to dry, man.
Yeah, to me, it's like yesterday I thought it was a really big opportunity for Eze to kind of like show that he deserves to be in there. And I thought he had just a kind of okay performance. As long as whoever else is supposed to be playing in that position is having whatever performances when they get a chance, you can't, Arteta's not going to force it. It's going to be difficult for him to come out of that position. So, you know, I was like, Eze, you got to have one of them games because everybody was saying you had to play. And I thought beyond the goal where he like kicked the ball into, I think, Jesus's foot and then they, you know, and it went to Timber and then whatever.
That was okay.
He didn't really do anything, you know, so you can't advocate. It's like, I'm at the point now where I'm like, Odegaard just has to rise it. He's had 2 bad games after having a couple of good games. He just has to. But you can't expect Arteta to switch out his captain. I know you guys don't respect the captaincy because you don't like the captain or the person who's wearing it. But you can't expect him to swap that person out if there's nobody in the team that's forcing him to the bench. Because let's keep it a buck. Eze is not forcing Odegaard out of that position.
Him and Eze have been dead.
So he has to go even above and beyond. Now, that does not preclude Odegaard from his performances. That Nottingham Forest performance, I was like, he has to come out at halftime. I don't know what happened to him because a couple of games ago, he was bouncing off of guys and doing well physically. Now he can't ride a challenge. I get that Elliot Anderson or whatever his name is kind of like a little stocky. I get it. Like he's a stocky dude. I don't expect you to go band for band with him, but not rolling around and doing somersaults and shit. So listen, as big of a like fan of I am of Odegaard, he was poor. That being said, just the person on the bench is always the answer. And then when they come in and they don't do anything, then you guys are like, oh, yeah. Oh, like it's
should Eze get a run though? Because to be fair to Eze, I make you right. For me, it's a we'll get on to Nwaneri, but Nwaneri's gone on loan. Obviously, Havertz isn't potentially fit. I do think it's looking like a Marino thing, as bewildering as that is, and I don't necessarily like him.
He's worked his way back into the team. I feel like out of him and Eze, when both of them have gotten opportunities to come off of the bench, Marino has had better.
Marino's taking his chance and he understands the system.
That's.
Do you think Eze needs a run though? Because he never had that, Jess.
He did have a run. He had a run for 2 months.
Yeah, but slightly he's been out the cold now. Like even the Inter game, he's been in the cold. Like every player surely is going to struggle a bit. For me, I think it's bewildering. Me and you have had this conversation. I like Odegaard. I like Eze. If you want to play, make yourself play. I do think there's a lot of biases that Odegaard's going to get in favor with Arteta. I do make you right in that Eze had to do an absolute, which he's not, had to do an absolute madness to play. Generally, I think the wide discussion around all of our attacking players, when you break down the defense, the midfield, and obviously attack, I do need them to start to come into form. And that's another question. Like, do you think players like Eze or Gyökeres will find form in the second half of the season?
I do.
And it's not just them, all of them, really. We need them to.
I do. I think, I was saying this in my post-match after
check that out, folks.
That, as much as like, I feel like, especially online, people focus on so-and-so versus so-and-so. Like
echo chamber stuff, man.
Nani versus Saka. It's Odegaard versus Eze. It's Trossard versus so-and-so. We're going to need every single player.
Thank you.
To win what we want to win. So for me, it's not so much about so-and-so versus so-and-so. It's how do we utilize everybody to the best of our ability to get to where we want to go. And I think as somebody that's like really big in like moments, who traditionally has big second halves of the season, that's taken a little while to kind of meld into the group, has all the chances in the world to have an excellent second half of the season for Arsenal. I just think when he gets his opportunities, he has got to have games where we're not saying like, what did he do? And I think that's the biggest concern with me with Eze, is that position does kind of require for Mikel, for that player to be a little bit more reliable on the ball and to get involved. And I feel like,
is it fair to say he's not reliable though? Because I'm asking you that.
I'm not saying he's not reliable on the ball. I just think that there's times where, like yesterday against Inter, or the other day against Inter, I felt like he lost the ball quite a few times. And
that's what I was going to
and that he's not the only person that loses the ball, but you can tell that Arteta really prioritizes technical security, so there's just a couple of different things. But do I think Arteta could do a better job at integrating him in and giving him more minutes? Yeah, I do. I think he's been out for a little bit too long now. You've made your point. He fucked up against Villa. Let's let it go. Let's try something else. And maybe there's an element of playing him and Odegaard together. Maybe you can play.
We're going to see that against Watford, surely.
Yeah, there's got to be a way. But
or whatever.
Yeah, but I think Eze has every opportunity to play a big role in the second half of the season. I don't think it needs to be him or someone else, or Saka or somebody else. We need everyone. We're going to need every single person to make it happen, So even Gyökeres, like, he's frustrated.
We'll get on to him.
Yeah, he's been a little frustrating, but maybe having somebody else that's also taking a little bit of the burden and playing in between, like when he's playing, will help him, because Jesus started against Inter and did well, and then he came on and did his thing. So we're going to need everybody. And I kind of also feel like this will probably be a good time not criticize and not be honest about performances, but for the fan base not to get too locked in on, oh my God, I fucking hate this player, da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, let's start.
Yes, you're preaching to the death with that. You're not wrong, but you're talking on deaf ears. Arsenal fans are not doing that.
I saw somebody saying that we should all get together and go to the games and boo certain players. And I thought, at any time to start booing players, you think right the fuck now is the time to start booing players. Like, we need to kind of just get everyone on song. And again, that's not to say that like Odegaard doesn't deserve a slap, because he does at times, like, especially like right now. But like, we have things to do. Like, let's try. Let's try.
People are doing way too much, man. Like, I hate the whole player versus player thing. Like you said, I don't think you can prefer players to others. You can criticize players, but I do think there's a lot of echo chamberism to the point where someone might have a dead game in an isolated 90 minutes, but you're bringing other stuff that you've held the whole season and it sounds great. You get a lot of views. People love what you're saying, but it's not exactly true. I think the greater problem is the players need to pull their finger out. Collectively, the attackers are not doing their job, and let's have it right. Like, they've been carried this half season. We need them to kind of do that. And obviously, whether it's low blocks, deep blocks, combinations, relationships, as I think you said, these were things we changing things and going through in-game management. These are things that we've been saying this season about the gaffer and the players. These were things that they were there last season. I know old habits die hard. I always say the Premier League season for me starts after game week 10. So I gave you preseason and game week 10. I admire what you lot have done in December and January, but now we're in the second half of the season and we are maneuvering. I do feel as a fan base bitching a bit and nitpicking a bit, rightly or wrongly. But now we need them to kind of go and do their thing. On the point you said about Eze and risk, I think you're right. But that's where I feel, just away from Arsenal when looking at Arteta. That's where I think you need to develop as a coach, because Ryan Cherky, for example, is obviously at City, right? He's a risky player. Pep's found a way to challenge his own ethos. Haaland, as great as he is, and he's an exception to the rule, he's a great striker, but he's not a traditional Pep striker. So he's obviously like gone against his own like coaching philosophies to bring him in. Where I look at Eze, and obviously Odegaard can be a risky player. Like I'm not gonna kill a player for making a mistake, innit? So I don't necessarily agree that Arteta's killed Eze because of the Aston Villa game. I definitely think he wanted to give him a slap in that, but he's a risky player. Odegaard, in an ideal world, is a risky player. If you've got a creative player, you want him to try those passes. He might get caught in possession like he did against Chelsea, but you need that. Where he's different to Eze, obviously he's a bit more safe and secure. But that's where I look at Arteta in that. You've obviously showed at Arsenal you can play attacking football, but since we've got like more and more in these title shouts, we've become more conservative, for better or worse. I don't see the point in having an Eze then. I guess super sub thing, all of that, but the Ezes, the Wanyeris who's gone out on loan, their thing is risk. And for me, I actually like the fact that it's structured and he overthinks. But no matter how much number crunching and analysis you do, the reason we all love football is because you just can't make up what's going to happen. Like Szoboszlai's free kick. So if you're not necessarily going to start them, the Wanyeris, the Ezes, them man go off script. And to granted, Eze has not, like Odegaard, but more so on Eze, he hasn't grabbed the spot. The one game I feel I've been impressed with us collectively, and the one that strikes for me with Eze, where I think he was a consistent threat, probably would have been Newcastle. Other than that, big you up for Bayern Munich. Shout out to you for City away in the City at home. Apologies. I don't think he was amazing against Inter. I don't think you done enough to grab that spot, but I don't think he was bad. But I understand
he wasn't bad at all. He wasn't bad at
exactly.
all.
Like,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. Like, there's too much hot and cold players. And the one thing I'd say with the gaffer here is, whatever I think about Odegaard or don't think about him, he's a bloody good player. Eze the same. Gyökeres the same. You brought in Madueke. Why are they all stinking up the gaff? And it's mad because we're having a bit of a moan, but we are 7 points clear. We have to get onto Man United, but we will speak about that.
Yeah.
But that's where I think you have to audit the performances, because I do think we're talking about the same things. And let me ask you, obviously exclude the Champions League for a sec, because we got to get onto that. But in the Prem, how many like great 90-minute performances have you thought from that we've put in? Obviously, there's some games you just have to muck in and keep it moving, but like not great 45s or great 20s, great 90s. Because Newcastle away comes to mind. Newcastle away. I think second half against Villa, great. Second half against City, great. Elements of other games, but like consistent 90 minutes. How many have you got? And have we seen that yet?
I don't know, man. Like,
this is why I'm scared, because I thought maybe you throw something out.
Like two-ish games. Like, Newcastle was really good, like you said. Even when we conceded, I felt like we were the much better team. You know, I loved that performance from Eze. I feel like that was like the most involved he was with like almost everything that we were doing in that game. We conceded, and we still, like, in the second half, were like doing what we needed to do. We made some changes. We won the game. Cool. I can't remember Forest. We won 3-0. Maybe we were good in that game for the whole game.
Yeah, that Leeds and all of that. Yeah, cool. Leeds at home, I don't know. If I was really nitpicking, I don't think so.
I don't remember. Cool. It was, but honestly, we've struggled to find 90 minutes where I think we felt like the performance was really, really good. You know, I'm still waiting on a full 90. I'm not
seeing things. And then, why do you think you've seen that in the champs? Because obviously we've done well against Bayern, done well the other day against Inter. Obviously, Atletico Madrid, it weren't amazing, but when the floodgates open, we did our thing. Why can't we take that into the Premier League? Is it just because of how European sides set up? Is it just one of those things with us at the moment? Why is it?
I mean, listen, yes, I was asking the same question, because I was like, why do you guys think like we're so much better in the Champions League? Because I actually think we were really good in the Champions League last season too. We were poorish, like to our standards in the Prem. But when we got into the Champions League, it was like a breath of fresh air. And I just wonder if it's just, I think a lot of it has to do with the way that people play against us in the Prem. I think having to come up against deep block after deep block, like think about the games that we actually did well in the Premier League this season. You know, Spurs comes to mind, Aston Villa comes to mind in the second half, and Newcastle. Not a single one of those teams sat back in their box and defended. They were all over the place. They were trying to come at us. The games were a little bit more open, but almost every other game that, you know, we come up and then they're like, in their little box, it's like this is going to be a struggle, you know, and every game has kind of felt like a struggle. But against Inter, they needed to win that game. They were at home. They, you know,
That's what people forget.
Yeah, they were throwing everything at us, and every time that they gave us the ball, we had all this space to like do stuff with, and we just do not see that in the Premier League. And I think it's a good reminder of why teams do what they do against us in the Premier League, is because that's what we'll do. You can be top of the Serie A.
Why give us space if we're going to ask questions? No, I always say that, yeah, because that's where, again, it's I'm not the coach in it. I'm not getting 50 mil a year. I ain't done what Arteta's done. I'm just an armchair expert. It's above board. But I always find it funny. Yeah, I know people have definitely moaned about Arsenal's low blocks, and a lot of Arsenal fans have moaned about the way teams set up. To which I say, if you're playing people can banter us about being second, but if you're playing one of the best teams in Europe and the Premier League, if you know you've got technical ability, if you know they pass and do all of that stuff, why on God's green earth would you open up? Obviously, even the teams that have gone forward, there's probably been an element of defending. Why would you give us space? I wouldn't. Yeah. It would be dumb. Even if we're playing a prime Real Madrid in their form, why on God's green earth would you want to make it open? Do you want to go down the Postecoglou route? This is where I think I'm frustrated with Arteta, because, again, I'm not the gaffer. But what we're talking about ain't isolated to this season. It's not even isolated to last season. It's not even isolated to the year before that. I know old habits die hard. And I genuinely think, yeah, for me, I think the players have to do a bit more, Jess. But I do think it's on the gaffer. I think you've shown me the capabilities. Like City, we said, fuck it, we're going for it. Fair enough, we was losing at the time, but we went for it, type of thing. So I think you've got it, but for whatever reason, you're going against it. Now, I can't say it's been the worst approach, because it's still got us ticking over. But generally, if we want to cross a path and do something we haven't done, which is getting over the line, then we probably have to do things a bit differently in some aspects. What do you make of this as well, Jess? Call me greedy, but we should have 11 points clear. I'm really disappointed about Forest and Liverpool. Those were unnecessary draws. 11 points would have been great, but do you feel that's a bit unrealistic, or where you at with it?
I mean, it's only unrealistic if you know you didn't do it. Like, I feel like it was realistic. True. I think at the very least it was realistic for us to beat Nottingham Forest. I get like the Liverpool. I get that. Like, I can kind of get it a little bit, but we've had multiple opportunities now to do that. And it kind of feels a little bit like if City play first and drop points, then we go ahead and drop points as well. I was saying that, like, psychologically, I feel like if City had won their game, that we would have won as well. But it's like, I feel like the pressure of getting that big lead is hurting them a little bit. Like they're struggling, you know, to get over the line, that like getting a little bit more. So I think it is possible. And it could have been possible, but it's neither here nor there. We've dropped the points. I feel like we just have to move forward. We have a 7-point gap now. We have a big game at the weekend. There's going to be another opportunity for us to make that lead bigger. Looking at the way City are playing now, that opportunity is going to come back to us at some stage. We need to take it at some point. As I remember last season, this was the same thing that Liverpool were doing. They were about like maybe 5-6 points in front of us around this area. They were dropping lots of points. They won like 1 game out of 5, but we kept dropping points as well. And then at a certain point, they extended that lead to 7, and then they extended it to 9. And then we just said, we're out of it. And we have to do that at some stage. So it'll come back to us. I feel like it is what it is now. Those games are gone. We can't get them back.
Moving forward.
But yeah, when you were saying, like, you know, about, you know, Arteta, he needs to do more. I would say the one thing that I would look at the club and say is that if you want to play this style where we don't open up as much and we're a little bit more rigid and a little bit more structured, and we're going to play up against deep blocks and be a little bit more safe, and we're only going to be able to create 2 or 3 chances throughout those games, you better make sure that you have really clinical forwards. And we have kind of created a group. Yeah, we've collected a group of attackers that would do a lot better with a lot more chances, you know. So that's where for me the problem is you can play this way and create 2 or 3 chances against these deep blocks, but when those chances are falling to players that probably need 2 or 3, that's where the problem comes in, you know. So either open up and make more chances and then risk more, you know, goals on the other end, or you need to go out there and buy more clinical attackers. Maybe somebody like Julian Alvarez. I don't know.
We'll get onto him, but like somebody did ask, do you think before I ask you what's on screen, do you think we'll sign anyone in Jan? I'm gonna ask you this every week. Well, to be fair, next week is the last opportunity, isn't it? Really, to ask you, but any confidence? You never in Berta, we trust no one in January.
Nah,
I can't say I disagree.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Would you make it this? We're only 7 points ahead because City is currently shit, not because we deserve to be that ahead. I think that's disingenuous because as much as we're critical about the points we've dropped, yeah, that's cap, bro. So what we meant to do?
Yeah.
We deserve to be where we're at, the good, bad, and the ugly, the wins, the draws, and the losses. I think I'm not flying with that. But what are you saying to that, Jess?
Yeah, I'm not trying to hear all that. Like, honestly, I get it. It's that we want to fully like indulge in the negativity and go into the dark place, and it's just because City are shit and we're not very good and la 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 la. We're the best of the bunch, you know. That's all we need to be. We don't have to be the best team that ever played the sport. We need to be better than everybody else this year.
That line, man.
So I don't give a damn because I already know what's gonna happen. If we win it, this was the worst season of all seasons. Everybody else was ass. Europe was ass. Everyone was ass. That's the only reason why I don't give a damn. We were better than you. And that's all we should care about, genuinely. We earned it. We've earned it. These boys have played in 4 competitions and have done spectacularly well with injuries all the time, constant influx all the time.
They deserve the good, bad, and the ugly. Like, we can't take that away from them. They've literally earned the right to win, lose, and draw. Allow that, man.
Yeah,
and that's City's business as well.
Yeah, I'm not worried about. Like, I don't care about any of that. Just win. You know, it's for me. I don't really care about the narratives. I think they've earned it, and if we do end up going on to win the Premier League or anything else, we will have earned that, and we deserve to celebrate it and be excited about it. Don't go into the dark place, guys. We have to, and this is coming from somebody that loves to live in the dark place. Like, I can get very dark very quickly. Like, trust me. But this is just not the time. This is the best opportunity we've had in my opinion, this is the most prepared we've ever been to win something. And it feels like we can do it. So I'm not trying to sit here and we don't deserve it. City are just shit and we're just nah. Like,
well, them things there, it sounds great. It gets buzzwords. It's when you bring up Arteta's, and again, I'm all for positive critiques. I think me and you have displayed ourselves as 2 of the most balanced content creators with Arsenal on this platform. But I think it's all great to say we don't deserve it. We've spent X amount of money. All of these things, and I know nobody cares about context, but all of these buzzwords without context, it gets it gets rival fans happy. It gets the other guys going mad. Me personally, I think everybody's allowed their opinions. I'm not speaking for the balanced football fans that believe in Arteta or don't necessarily believe in Arteta. I'm talking about the hyper opinions. I think there's some people that are more committed to seeing Arteta succeed than Arsenal, and I think there's some people that are more committed to seeing the man fail. Neither, in my opinion, should be doing what we're doing. We're allowed to have a little bitch and a moan about the performances. Granted, even when we've won, Arteta was going vexed about the Wolves game. We audit the performance, but what we don't need to do is throw our toys out the pram. By God's grace, that's not a thing. But there might be a time when we have to do that. Right now, we've got everything to play for. We played 22 games. I don't see the issues, if I'm honest. I'm all for just being vexed about what you need to be vexed about. Don't start effing and blinding about things that are not really relevant. Like, to go back to what you said about the buying tickets to boo people. I mean, if you spend your money, you can do what you want. But I think you're a bit of a neat doing that. I don't see how that helps. I don't understand that thing, if I'm honest, man.
Yeah, no, I don't really get it. And it's like, again, we pray for these days where we're back in the Champions League and we're doing well. And probably yesterday was probably one of the first days that I thought we really genuinely could win more than one trophy this season if we lock the fuck in.
Oh.
I haven't really felt like that in a minute. So I'm really not trying to, get all into the weeds of devastation and all that, because I'm used to being negative. Like, there's nothing really to be negative about. We can critique, but we are not in a place where we need to be like down in the dark place, really. And the league is hard. I agree with Jalen. I think the league is difficult because that middle section is not as crap as they used to be. And so every game is like a battle. There's good coaches, tactically astute.
It's a level playing field now in the Premier.
Talent. Yeah, they have the money to buy good talent now in the Premier League. Sometimes you see certain players going to certain teams and you're like, he's going to Bournemouth. Like, that's what we're contending with. So yeah, we're doing well. I don't know.
It's all in our hands, man. Like it's all in our hands. It could be out of our hands. Me, I'm not taking too much stock in 7 points. I'll take any lead. We deserve it.
Same.
I'm more interested at the earliest, back end of March, April, etc. We just need to get back on the boat, innit? Like at the end of the day, we've had 2 draws, we've had 2 0-0s. There's been plenty to audit between those 2 performances. Get on with it against Man United, man. You know what? Before we get into Man United, talk to me about Inter. Like, not necessarily what you made of the game, but like, what did you think of the individuals? Because obviously, Gabriel Jesus did very well. Great moment from Gyökeres off the bench. Technically, Saka gets an assist. Eze did okay, not really amazing. Some people like to do that thing of, oh, Odegaard's been dropped and we've been winning. I would actually give Mascara man of the match. You know, I know he's not going to get it, but I think he bossed it. But talk to me about Inter, man.
Yeah, I would say like it was probably the most relaxed I've been at like watching Arsenal in years, because we have done such a good job in the Champions League that pretty much they were fighting for their lives and we were comfy. Like
And you wouldn't have clocked that.
Yeah, I was like, this is just, who would have thought you could go away to Inter? They're top of Serie A right now, you know, and we're basically cruising and they're like literally life and death with us right now. Oh, and we beat them and it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was like so easy, but it wasn't like the worst thing ever, right? And so I think there was a lot of positive to take from that. If you want to take positives, there are positives to take from it. Mascara being back and going, I mean, he had a nice little battle with Esposito. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, we had to bring on Magalhaes for that one there, but big him up, man.
He was, I think the thing about Mascara is we forget that he's 21. I saw a lot of people like after the game because they were putting out like the, you know, the stats of his game or whatever. And they were like, oh shit, he is 21. And it's like, he's young, like he's really young and he's done really well so far. I'm so glad he's back from injury. It was really nice to see him. I thought Miles had a solid game. I think it wasn't from last season, but we just need to take baby steps. Let's just get back forward. I thought that was really good. I thought Eze was really good for the goal, speeding up the play. He was in a central position right at the top of the box, passed it into, I think it was like Jesus's feet. Nice little move or whatever. It kind of was a little lucky-ish because, you know, Timber takes a little scuff shot, but Jesus is ready for it.
One of Timber's best performances in the final third was a scruff shot. That's the first thought that went through my head with that.
Yeah. And Jesus was probably like the star of the show. And for somebody that's, I think one of the harder things to listen to people talk about when it came to Jesus when he first came back in was people being so harsh about his performances, knowing that he's been out for a year. I would love to see you guys be out of something for a year and then try to do it and then be perfect at it right away. He's going to be, the people are like, he's physically cooked, he's this and that. He's literally just come back from being out
in a hot sec, if I'm honest.
And then the season prior, he was out the whole season as well. So he's played very little football. And I think in the times that he's actually come in and actually played, he's done well, so much so that people are like, Jesus. He had the goals. I thought he took them well. They were like striker goals.
Being in the right place at the right flipping time.
Yeah, right time. But he was also good holding up the ball. I thought there were moments where we could give him the ball, he would hold on to it, and he would pop it off to somebody else or earn a foul or whatever. Saka should score. You know, the chance that he creates for him where it's on Saka's left foot, he takes too long to take the shot. But that was like classic Jesus. I don't want to project too far onto him because I know that he's coming back off of injury, but he's another player that's really useful in this team. And I don't know.
He wants to stay.
Listen,
you don't give up on him.
If you play for a new deal and I get performances like that, and that's the thing, if you sit there in a press conference and you say, I want a new deal and I want to stay, your very next performance kind of needs to be like that. You need to show and prove. You need to put your money where your mouth is. I feel like he did that. And so that was a good performance from him, man of the match for me. Then, you know, Gyökeres comes out there and he scores his goal. You know, we had 3 striker goals in one game. There's positives if you want to take them, you know, so I loved it. And I was so happy to watch an Arsenal game when they scored. I was like, oh, we'll get it back. It's fine. No big deal. Like, I haven't felt like that in a long time.
Do you know what? For me, Champions League, like the only thing I would say with the champs, and we haven't got there yet. I agree with what Henri said. Like, if you watch the CBS thing, is like just win it. Like, just win it, because PSG, for argument's sake, they weren't where we were last season in the league phase. They obviously won it. I think the dynamics are different, but by the same token, big up the boys. You know, you've beaten Atletico Madrid, you've beaten Bayern, you've won at San Siro. Everything's great, really and truly. Like you said, which I think, based on how the game happened, it's gone over people's heads. And that's really for Inter, but Inter needed to win. Side note, I did like the shoulder bars from Miles Lewis-Skelly, but all I can say on that is a good kind of performance, man. I did like the shithousery with Marino. I'm happy Zubimendi, who I think people are blaming just Zubimendi. I think we was a lot more attacking, and obviously the byproduct is there's a lot more space. But Zubi done well. There's a lot of great performances from us. But then I want to ask you, just like, with what you said about Jesus, done well, took his goals. Unfortunately, didn't get a hat trick. Obviously, Gyökeres came off the bench and actually looked decent with his decision making. And I can't believe that pass Martinelli did, but he scored. With Man United in mind, yeah, how are you feeling about that game? But before we get into that, who do you start up front? Because I think my answer might shock you.
Okay. How am I feeling about United, right? I mean, this is my cup final, so
they got a managerial bounce. It's the Twitter derby, the London derby.
Favorite fixture on the calendar every year. I was so happy to get it out of the way on the first game of the season. I thought I just couldn't, like, everybody was complaining about how bad we played, and I didn't care because all I cared about was them 3 points. There's nothing I hate more than watching United fans be happy. So
Arsenal fans, they talk about our club more than this.
They disgust me with everything. Like, they're the worst. So I'm not feeling it yet because it's Thursday, but I guarantee Saturday night, as I'm getting into bed, I'm going to be shitting bricks. I do not like this fixture. I do not like their manager bounce.
Good on the counter, man. Managerial bounce and that.
Well, their style of play is the perfect type of play to thwart us. I think the styles go together in a way where it's like
form does go out the window against them as well.
It fits so well because we're going to try to keep the ball and they're going to try to counter us when we lose it, which is kind of like our kryptonite. That's like the worst thing that can happen to Arsenal is give away the ball and then they just kick it down and I can't even be excited that Rashford's not there because he was like the nightmare that lurked in the darks. Like, he was always the one that scored, but they can still do that with Mbeumo and players like that. So
especially if they play on the floor and behind for Mbeumo. I think it's really in the style that Sesko scores against us, potentially Gyökeres bags against them.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like I'm kind of happy that they got rid of Amorim and they were able to bring in Carrick early, like, you know, at this point so that they could get those points from Man City because I needed that. They were the only team that I thought of that could take points off of City for real and really play them seriously because they have pride and all that. But we're the next game, you know, so I'm worried. I think Carrick does have one over Arteta if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
In his last spell as Man United caretaker gaffer, he's actually pulled off some results, man.
Yeah. So we have to, and they've been sitting around all week, you know, because that's the thing. They're not playing in any other competitions. So Arsenal are going to have to be on it. I think it's going to be a really, really difficult game. But this is one of the last fixtures. I know every game is difficult, but this is one of those fixtures where I feel like if you can win this is going to put you in a really good position because then that's one less team that is really like one of those that you're going to be super nervous for.
I don't know. I'm more it's mad. I'm more nervous for Leeds away. Like, I do think form goes out the window. Obviously, Carrick's doing his thing. We have the element of shooting ourselves in the foot. I'm a bit of a hypocrite because not that I really am taking too much stock in the points gap at this moment in time, but it can get cut if you do not beat Man United. Man United, Carrick might be gassing them. They've got nothing, you know, they've had a week to prepare. Quote unquote, they've got nothing to kind of lose because obviously all the talk will be about us. So I do think we need to be up to it. And we're chasing a deficit. You know, a draw in isolation against Liverpool isn't the best, isn't necessarily the worst. You could say that with Forest, but it's come at the wrong time. We're chasing a deficit. We cluster performances together in it, like, and that can't be the case. I'm keen to see what midfield is saying. But yeah, who you going with? I got. Before I ask you a lineup, I got 2 questions I want to ask you. Yeah, first thing, I want to ask you about left back because Calafiori, there's rumours he'll be there. Hincapié the same. We obviously see Timber left back. You got Lewis-Skelly. Obviously, if Calafiori and Hincapié are there, then I probably think you go with one of the 2 in it. But if them 2 are not there, do you go with Timber at left back or do you do something else?
I think, it's so hard because you don't want to demoralize Miles, but we have to be realistic here.
We need to get 3 points, man. Him against I back him, but
yeah, I think watching how he was against Esteval would make me want to go with somebody else.
I'm Frimpong. I think Frimpong he got cooked. That's the first time. I think he struggled against Estavia. I think for me he got cooked. So then who do you go with? Do you go with the Timber left back and Ben White thing then?
It sucks because I feel like Timber's like needs a rest and has not been able to get one, but he's gonna have to go out there and do it. He's gonna have to go there and do it. But yeah, that's just what we're gonna have to do. We're just gonna have to get behind it. I mean, because the thing with Miles, it's like I can't even really say that like, oh well, if we play him instead, even if he's getting cooked, he's gonna add something going forward because I feel like the only player. Yeah, I feel like the only player that really does that for us on the other side is Calafiori. I'm willing to take him getting cooked every once in a while because I know that he could score a goal or make a moment or whatever. We've seen it, So, yeah, it's difficult, but we'll survive. We'll survive. We'll put somebody there.
So what would you go with? You ain't answered. Like, what would you go with for what we know?
I said Timber.
Oh, fair enough. You know what? Yeah. And I know because I make you right with what you said about Miles Lewis-Skelly. Fuck it, I'm gonna take the risk, man. Timber right back, Miles Lewis-Skelly left back. Don't get twisted, Miles. I'm unhooking you at halftime if I don't see what needs to be done. I just think I need to see us not be stupid, but be brave. Like just kind of focus on what he's good at. Rice play a slightly bit deeper in that 8, and we might get something. I don't know if I have a funny feeling he starts Martinelli because Martinelli's gonna go backwards. I'm not sure. The one thing I do want to ask you,
start Martinelli for United?
No, for us. Yeah. I think he might. Because of what he's going to do, especially if he does start Lewis-Skelly, I think he might. Because of Nelly going backwards, I think he might. I want Trossard to start. You know this, but I just have a funny feeling he might start Nelly. This is the games where I think Arteta starts throwing some spanners in the works and shocking us. I don't want Nelly to start. I think Nelly's thing at this moment is super sub. Obviously, anytime I'm talking about an inside forward or a winger going backwards, it's scary territory. It's the same kind of rhetoric around like focusing on Odegaard pressing or Gyökeres occupying the centre backs. It's not that we can't see these things, but we're overcompensating. I want Trossard. I kind of know my team. But the one thing I did want to ask you, who's going up front with you? Are you going Kai? Are you going Jesus? Are you going Gyökeres? I know who I'm going with. Who are you going with?
It can't be Kai. So,
sure, he's not fit. Well, he's nowhere
he's
near
not.
proper
He hasn't really played any, but I don't know. Probably Gyökeres.
Why Gyökeres?
I don't know. Because I honestly, I don't know. Because I want to play Jesus, but I wonder if he would be better off the bench.
Could you flip that for Gyökeres, like against Inter? Because we saw Haaland up against Lisandro. Like at least Jesus is ants in his pants. He's everywhere.
I mean, here's the thing. I think they could share the game.
100%.
I think they could share the game. Maybe you'd start Jesus. I think right now, if I was just picking based on like no tactics, no nothing, who's just the better player, I think would just put Jesus out there. But yeah, I mean, who would you go with? Because I don't really have. I think our center forward problem is. I'm just like our wingers need to show up and score. I don't think our striker is like very
mixed performance.
All of them have problems in some way or another. But what do you think?
I might shock you, Jess. I'm not going with Jesus. I'm not going with Gyökeres. I'm not going with Kai. I'm going with Mikel Merino. Just because I feel, because of the, you can see statistically, strikers have left touches in the game. I do think Lisandro and Harry Maguire are going to relish it against Gyökeres. Don't get twisted. Gyökeres starts, back him all the way. I just think Merino, drop into midfield with me, show me something, and you can pull these guys off the bench and whatnot. I genuinely think it's a Merino thing. I wish we weren't in a scenario. I'm talking about my centre mid with the greatest of respect to him. I do think Merino's the best, and he's probably the most clinical. I do think it's a Merino thing. I am. I might change my mind, but genuinely, and I would hold my L's. If I was Arteta, Merino's going up top for me, man. I can't lie.
Yeah. I mean, that's to me, that wouldn't bother me either.
Look at
I
where
like
we're at. It wouldn't bother you. It's mad.
Yeah, it wouldn't. Like, because I think the striker situation is very much like whoever you have up there, you're going to have something is going to be missing. So, yeah, pluses and minuses to everything. The one thing I will say about Marino is that if we end up getting corners, I feel more confident that he's going to come up with something than any of the other ones, except for Kai, but Kai's not going to play. I think one thing that you lose maybe with Gyökeres or Jesus to a certain extent is like heading ability. I know Jesus just scored, but yeah, I like Marino up front. I didn't have a problem with it before. I thought people were freaking out about it for no reason. They're like, ever since he's been up there, we haven't been but he scores goals, So my question would be, if I was there talking to them, is are the wingers locked the fuck in? Because it's gonna be you guys that are gonna unlock this game. Y'all need to lock the fuck in. You need to start scoring way more goals. You need to be more dangerous today. Saka, Nani, Martinelli. Who
you going with? Because some people are saying put Saka to the left, not bring Noni in. Some would say Trossard. Some might say Nelly. Who's your wingers?
Funnily enough, to show a little bit of faith, I would Arteta, listen, if you go with I'm going with Timber because I feel at left back because I feel like Timber can defend and hold his own.
Yeah, against someone especially.
But I feel like I'm gonna try Eze on the left. Like I need somebody to get cooked. I need people getting deleted. I need stardust. I need something. I need to feel like somebody's gonna be out there that can make something out of nothing. And trusting him in a big game may be a way to jumpstart his second half of the season. I don't know. I feel like one thing we did, remember we saw it against Liverpool away, where as soon as Eze came on, he was like deleting the fullbacks. He was doing a good job.
And he had that chance as well.
And I would probably utilize him out there. I'd be looking at that. I would, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of space. So I don't think Martinelli's going to be running into space really. Trossard, his like purple patch seems like it's maybe died down a little bit. Maybe this is a time to trust Eze and say, do something in front of the Emirates crowd. This is your chance with Saka. I'd probably start Gyökeres. He's the only, he's one of the only wingers besides Trossard that's ever really found Gyökeres in the box. Go with that and see how it goes. And if it doesn't go well, then I'll bring Trossard on. Or if we're holding on and where we can have an opportunity to counter, maybe I'll bring Martinelli in for pace. But I feel like at some point you have to utilize Eze in one of these games to kind of get him going. And this may be a good one. That would be me. But
you don't need no introduction. Well, you don't need no explanation as to why you should turn up. What about Jesus left wing and Gyökeres up front? Or do you think that's kind of played our cards or shown our hand too early?
Just let them share the game. I think 9 on your back. You've scored a couple goals. Why would I move you out of the position that I brought you in to play for Arsenal?
True.
So just play Jesus up front if you're going to play him, kind of thing. But yeah, I think both Jesus and Gyökeres made a good account for themselves to start this game. So, we'll see who Arteta chooses, but utilizing both of them might be the best to our ability. I think one of them would be good for, Gyökeres Carrick's going to play a back four, most likely, I think. I think that he recognizes that Man United is a back four team. He's not going to revert to the back 3/back 5. So you can occupy the center backs with Gyökeres, and then maybe give our wingers more opportunity with more space. And then if things aren't working out, then you could put Jesus in. Obviously, you're not going to occupy the center backs as much, but you have somebody that can hold the ball up and drop in and do a little bit something different. So it's however the game is going, that's what I would think about. So, and we also need to make sure that we shut down Lisandro Martinez too. That's the big thing that I feel like.
What? Yeah, for someone so small, yeah. Go on.
City didn't really do a good job at that. They were letting him ping passes from the back, and that's like his thing. Like if Manchester United don't have him, they can't play out of the back, but they have him back. So somebody has to be tasked with keeping him from kicking that ball. And that's another reason why I feel like as much as you guys don't like him, we need to be able to initiate the press. And so that's why I wouldn't really go with Eze in the 10, because then you're not going to get any pressing. You're not going to be able to stop their center backs from doing anything, but just play him out at left wing. Just play him out on left wing, give him the ball. He's also somebody good that you can trust in space. If we ever need to kick it out to him, trust him in space, twirl, give Gyökeres the ball and go. Let's see. That's what I would go with. I know he's not going to.
Do you know what the realest point I think I took from you is like who starts and whatever. Like I just think Lissandro and Harry they might relish it against Gyökeres, with the greatest of respect to Gyökeres, and I think Jesus is a bit more all-rounded. Obviously, goals are a weak point of Jesus. Big him up for his 2 goals, but I think for someone that's not the biggest,
you said it's a weak point.
Goals are a weak point, but like he's probably our most all-rounded striker. Like he's not the biggest, but I've seen him play Liverpool and hold his own against Van Dijk, weights of Van Dijk a couple of times. So he could do that. He could do the pressing thing. Kind of what I saw with Gyökeres against Inter is what I've kind of wanted to do with Gyökeres. You kind of come off the bench and whatnot. If you start great, the other ones have to. I've kind of got more faith in, and I know ironically Jesus a couple of years ago came off the bench and bagged against United, but I've got more faith, if that makes sense, in Gyökeres doing that off the bench than Jesus. If I was going to gamble, and I hear your point about the press, if I was going to gamble with the midfield 3, which I'm not going to lie, it'd be last chance Salim for Odegaard. I'm more likely to see Eze. I know Trossard's kind of gone on a downer, but I just think you're the one attacker I kind of believe in at this moment in time. So for me, you're going to play left back. I don't know where we're at with that. It's a bit scary, man. It's a completely different question, but it kind of breaks things up. Who do you think wins the Champions League this year, given we are coming up to the last group stage game?
It's hard. I think it's really difficult to say who's going to win it without seeing what side of the brackets you guys are on, because I think that informs almost everything. Until we see that,
I don't think we can play Bayern until the final. I don't know if people are telling the truth, but
we need to see where everybody ends up, who's going to play against who's drawn against who at the beginning, because that's going to inform you. Because you can say from now, but if Bayern early doors get somebody like, I don't know, or let's say us, if we get a more difficult team at the beginning and Bayern are on the side with like, teams that aren't as good, then maybe you can infer. But I think right now, it's between us and Bayern, because you maybe pick the top 2 teams, but it never really pans out like that, does it?
Never goes out like that. The knockout stages is a different dynamic. You got a preference? I ain't got one, but you got a preference on who you want to play in the knockouts. Not that we can draw conclusions from it.
Honestly, I was happy to see that Chelsea won their game, because they needed to get out of them 15, 16 spots, because they had like a 50% chance of meeting us in the round of 16, which is nuts. And
I'm on mashing up Chelsea.
I later down the line.
I'd
rather see somebody else knock them out first, But yeah, I think I would just prefer, if we're gonna play English opposition, on. But I want to play a European giant in the final if we get there. Like I want to play a.
Huh?
I do. I'd prefer.
Just fuck that. Hopefully, Carabao go all the way to the final. Let's buck them.
Carabao is not going to make it. Carabao is not going to make it. Let's be realistic.
I know. I'm being silly.
Let's be realistic. What I'm saying is, I don't want an all English final. I want to play a European team. I don't want to play Liverpool, City, none of those. I can't take it. I will not live. I will not survive.
PSG, Real Madrid, Barca, them kind of team. Bayern potentially.
Yeah, somebody like that. Because at the very least, I know that I'm going out to somebody that I don't have to worry about them bantering me, because they don't. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Oh, no.
I can't lie. Bring on a serious note. Bring on anyone, innit? Like,
hopefully we
can't bring that far ahead, but bring on anyone.
Yeah, hopefully we will have won the Prem by then, though. Because you win the Prem by then, and then it's like, well, we got something, so. If you come into the place with something already, you're like less like, we got to win this because we didn't win anything else. Like,
No, I'm greedy, man. We've been starved, man. It's like I haven't been fed for time. Now you've taken me to Hakkasan or something. I want everything, man. Take up everything. Yeah. But somebody mentioned in the chat, playing Barca would be great. Revenge for 06. I think
no Real Madrid. We cannot play Real Madrid in a final. The judge is too strong.
Yeah, no, because we'll dominate the game, a million chances. Or something like that. I'm not trying to hear that.
No, we can't. I think we owe PSG. I would not mind playing them in a final.
Bring Barca, man.
Barca.
Obviously, they got Yamal and the Stardust, and they're a good team. But I reckon
it's the Rafinha and the Lamine Yamal of it all. I feel like that's scary.
But that high line, man. Martinelli might score the winner. Man, you never know. You saw that outside the beat pass. Martinelli Champions League is
I
different.
would prefer Barca over Real Madrid. I will say that. Barca,
Yeah,
PSG.
Real Madrid, like you said, the judge, man.
I don't know how much I would love playing Bayern in a final. I do think by the time we get there, if they don't have that many injuries, they're really strong. Kane's strong. Olise strong. Musiala's back. Like, it's looking dark. Like, for me, they need to get knocked out before we get there. But yeah, Barca or PSG, I'm sure.
You know what? Somebody said it in the chat. Hansi Flick hasn't lost a single final. Yeah, but the Undertaker had to lose his WrestleMania streak at one time. It happens, man. You got to lose it.
That's because they keep playing Real Madrid in these finals and the Copa whatevers and all that shit. Like, I'm not trying to hear all that.
You know what? It's scary. You know what? To be fair, to a degree, you could argue you can have a preference, but you shouldn't, innit? You should have the belief it's Champions League, buck anyone. It is what it is. This is a good question. I have a feeling Havertz will play more in midfield because the last 2 games he brought on Jesus and Gyökeres instead of Havertz. I did think in August you might see Havertz probably being potentially more competition for Odegaard, and that could be a kind of way to get Gyökeres and him in the side. But where are you at with that?
So, why are we going back? I don't like him in midfield, and I don't
like him in that left 8, man.
I feel like we've seen enough of Marino there. I feel like Marino should play in there over him because he's actually a midfielder and he plays well with Zubi. And why would you do that to Eze? Like, why would you do that to Eze?
I will though, because them man understand the system a bit more and like them man in it. I think if you got Eze and Odegaard in Eze and Kai at this moment in time, I think Arteta is more likely to go there. This is a completely left field one, yeah. But looking at Carrot, yeah. Do you think we could see Zubi, Eze, and Odegaard, or do you think that could be an opportunity just for Havertz to play in midfield, get 1-2 minutes?
We have to fully rotate.
It's a dead rubber.
We have to fully rotate against Kuwait. We have to. Like, it's one of our
maybe even Kepa.
Yeah, that's one of our final opportunities that we can see where we're going to get to have, like, a chance to rotate. So, I mean, I'm talking about Marley Salmon. What you got for me? Like, get on the pitch, buddy. Mascara, stretch the legs. Come on. Like, Kepa.
Right, there's minutes there, man.
Yeah. Rotate.
It would have been lovely for Ethan, but.
Yeah, Norgard, do your thing.
Completely forgot about Norgard.
Yeah, get Kai Havertz some minutes. We must, because we don't know when's the next time we're going to get to rotate a little bit. But, yeah, that Havertz in midfield, y'all you guys
there's certain games I think you can run it, If it's a slugfest and we're just trying to get out of there, I see the method to the madness. Don't get twisted. I'm not trying to see that. But I do think there's probably 5 games across the season. There's a method to the madness. But I once again want to state, I ain't trying to go back there. There's just said the names, innit? I don't want to, there's a couple man I don't want to see in midfield. It's a bit of a humbling experience as an Arsenal fan, seeing people play in midfield and talking what they do off the ball versus whatever you do off the ball is your business, but you can actually play it forward consistently. But that's just my thoughts, man.
But yeah, so we probably will see it. We probably will see it. And
I even forgot about Norgard, with the greatest of respect. Yeah, that's a game for you. Maybe even you could run him centre half just to free up another midfield spot and all of those kind of things, man.
Well, must.
We must. We've got no chase.
Because you could play Max, but he's not fit. That'd be a perfect game for him.
See, that's where it sucks as well. You mentioned Max. He's a Haylender. Obviously, what did you make of this? Because I think it's a good opportunity for Nwaneri, man. I think, as you said earlier, Marino's ahead. Eze is still ahead with all the struggles. Odegaard's still ahead. Probably see Kai, De Zerbi, Champions League, physical league in Marseille. I think it makes sense, innit? But where are you at with Nwaneri going out on loan?
I was a little... No, I wasn't. Let me not lie. I was not that surprised to see the reaction to this. That being said, when you just think about it, that's a much more interesting loan than some of the loans that we've put people on before. And playing in one, like you said, it's a physical league. He's going to be playing for a manager that plays a decent brand of football with some talent.
Very demanding, like the gaffer.
Yeah, and he's gonna, I think this could be a good opportunity for him. I hope he does get the playing time.
Over 90 minutes for him, because you don't have that yet.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a good thing. I'm interested. I can't wait to use my BN Sports, subscription now so that I can watch him play.
Long report videos and that again.
Yeah, I'm down for it. But I don't know what people thought was going to happen when we bought Madueke and Eze. You know, I think we talked about this in the summer. When is Ethan going to play? And I was like, it's going to impact his playing time significantly. There'll be some
We even
minutes.
said it's easiest to leave the kids out, rightly or wrongly. Like, we're not saying this is right. This is the reality, just looking at it objectively.
Yeah.
And it's still 18, 19 and come back.
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like we're very precious about our Hale Lenders, and I get why, but at the same time,
just need a pathway to open.
Yeah, we need to people will leave. I think a couple of these senior players will be gone after the summer, and we'll be able to bring them back. There'll be a pathway. I'm sure they have not sent him out on loan without assuring him that there is a pathway for him at Arsenal. So, and all the players and all the players that we've sent there have done well. Nuno Tavares, they thought that he was the next coming of something. Like when he was playing out there, he was the next Alphonso Davies. When he was playing out there, they was loving on him. And Saliba did well. So I don't get what the problem is, but I'm also like, want what's best for Ethan and not what's best for my agendas. You know, Ethan sitting on the bench is not going to help us. So
playing for the 21s as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I love this for Ethan, and I hope it goes well.
Everything you said there, facts. And even if like, I don't think you got a divine right to start every game. I like the fact that as a man or as a young person, let alone footballer, you're out of your comfort zone. All you've known is Arsenal. You're going over there. Obviously, the manager, I'm sure De Zerbi is going to play you, but we all know how football works. The manager is going to tell you everything. Got to remember, these lot are trying to achieve whatever they're trying to achieve. I don't know if they actually statistically can get through to the next round of the champs, but it's put up or shut up. You're obviously going to be presented with an opportunity to show a greater level of consistency. They don't care that you're a young player from Arsenal. You've come from Arsenal. Can you do the business? Yes or no? There's plenty, like, as a footballer, you're going to play in different formations and tactics, and them things there are going to help you at Arsenal. Obviously, I don't want him to necessarily go on loan or leave Arsenal, but you could put yourself either in the shop window to extend this loan or a Premier League loan, or like you said, if the pathway opens, you could play a bit more. Or like we've seen at a point with Smith Rowe and Saliba, the gaffer says, all right, you're here to kind of play now. My heart bleeds for him because we would have liked him to play, but the gaffer ain't put a, he ain't, some people, their opportunity will come with the gaffer saying, I know you got Eze, I know I've got Odegaard. I'm exaggerating a bit, but I'm going to give you 5-10 games. Don't get excited, but come the end of that stretch, I need to see a certain level of consistency, because reality is we're trying to win something in it. I'm not saying it's right, but Kai Havertz, Merino, this one, that one, they're all ahead. They could give him out of 10 games, 6 out of 10. 1 year, he could be doing 20 out of 10 first 2 weeks, -5 the other. Obviously, we know the manager is going to go with the young, with obviously the experienced players. So for me, I'm all for it, man. I know people are upset. Oh my God. And you know what the ironic thing is that we're complaining about Eze and Odegaard. Maybe it could have been a 1 year thing, but I'm all for it. I don't want you to waste the half of football. Like, go and get some minutes.
Yeah. And I think it's like some of the fans in particular, I feel like some fans are still stuck in like 2021, and it feels like very much so like the narratives around Saliba. He hates Arteta. Arteta's, shipped him off to France and, cast him aside. What thanks is this for the 10 goals that he scored last season? He's better than anybody else playing in that position. And I'm like, yeah, back then, like Saliba probably should have been maybe getting minutes over like Rob Holding. I understand that. We had some bums back there,
but everything worked away from the pressure of Arsenal as well.
We were ass. Like, we were ass back then. We are top of the table in multiple competitions, and people are acting like the players that are playing in that position right now are so bad that they're keeping us from doing stuff. Like, genuinely, I think people need to touch grass. Like, we are not in 2021 anymore. He's not making the team because he's behind really talented players, whether you like them or not. He's not better than Eze. He is not better than Merino, and he's not better than Odegaard. He needs consistent playing time. He's 18. This is not 2021. It's not Rob Holding, So the disrespect that I see for like seasoned professionals is ridiculous to me, especially with what they've done so far this season. It's like, nah, fuck that. Ethan should be playing over all of them and sell all these guys and shit. It's like, who do you think got us here? If Ethan wasn't playing, who got us here?
And even that, just like, obviously, exactly. Like, obviously, if the form was mad, I know we've been moaning about where we drop points, but if our form was mad, like if we were prior to Carrick, if we were where Man United is, I understand. Play Wanyeri. We've been here before where we want other guys to develop. I'm not going to go as far as to say there's no pressure because you're playing for one of the biggest French teams. Nobody cares about, what you've done at Arsenal. You need to go and do it. I think Wanyeri's at the right stage he's at now, but you need to start affecting the game over 90 minutes. I won't quite say again that there's no pressure, but you're away from the Arsenal noise. For me, I'm not, no doubt, he's going to go do the rounds on social media, probably score a screamer or two, hopefully more, and that they will be the great games that people talk about and see the clips. For me, when I'm watching Wanyeri at Marseille, it's the games where there's no noise. Where Marseille lose, if he's playing, that's what I want to see because you've got the ability. On the ball, you're crazy. Selfishly, I would have liked you to stay because as I said earlier, him and Eze, if they're going to play peripheral roles, sometimes there's games where you need to take risks. This man will shoot where the game's gone left, do on something unimaginable type of thing, innit? But I understand him going out alone. He could even go on loan again. There's obviously an element of him putting himself in the shop window, and he's still young. He's still young. So I want to see him come back and be able to develop over 90 minutes. He's going to improve defensively. He's under a good manager. Clearly, Arsenal's stance changed. Like, I don't think they wanted to loan him out, but he's probably had a number of offers, but there's probably been some offers that make sense. I reckon Bournemouth offered that might have made sense. I know Palace are in a bit of a shaky moment.
For a certain reason. I
think this makes too much sense, bro.
Yeah, and if I had an opportunity,
and the French league is mad physical as well, which people forget.
Yeah.
Premier League,
if I had an opportunity to play in Champions League for a team I would take that shit. I would. If I'm not playing, to me that'd be more attractive than playing for Bournemouth. So yeah, go on. And I think he's gonna do so well there if he gets the playing time, and I'm excited to see it. He's the future of our team. Like, he's going to get into this team. Like, I think Odegaard's like 27. Like, time is ticking. Like, relax. He's going to get into this team. I don't know why everybody's like, so this is not. First of all, you guys should learn from Saliba. You guys were saying that Saliba would never come back. He hated Mikel, and he was never going to come back to Arsenal. And he's literally turning down Real Madrid to stay here and win trophies with us. Calm down. Calm down.
Once again, Jess, you're telling people to the Arsenal fans to calm down. Preaching to the death. You're not wrong, though.
Simmer down.
Do you think Lewis-Skelly could end up going on loan? Maybe not this season, but generally.
That's an interesting one.
Because another one that probably needs a couple man to move to get opportunity in midfield. If that is the case.
Does he, though? I mean, because we need another midfielder, don't we?
Yeah, but Arteta's not doing that right now. I think, like with Wanyeri, it's off the ball. Because if you go to sleep defensively at left back, in midfield where Arteta, we know you need to stand here, you need to do this. When that one has the ball, you need to be there. You're not getting it right now. Because like you said, like Marino's been coming on for Odegaard. Marino and Zubimendi, and I'm not saying I like it, but they've got that partnership. Eze's probably more likely to play there. Kai's probably more likely to play there. You got Norgard in the wings. There's probably a couple other Banduli things I haven't mentioned. I do think the gaffer, like with Miles Lewis-Skelly in midfield or Wanyeri playing, I do think it's one of them things, rightly or wrongly, because we know we're trying to win silverware, where the gaffer has to say, you know what, boom, you're getting a run of games, like what Wenger used to do. But as you said, we're in a different scenario now. It's not like when the club was at its bare bones and Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Saka kind of get us back to where we need to be. That you can't have all the young players playing bare rotation, playing the same players, competing. Like football don't work like that. It genuinely doesn't work like that. I don't know what people are on at times.
Yeah, we have to see, because I feel like with Miles, it's different because Ethan was definitely on he's up in the obscurity of the team. Miles was very much so like in the team for real. And then he did really, really well. And he also got a call up to the national team. And now he may not be getting that call up again. So I don't really know. I don't know why we can't just move Miles into midfield, because at this stage you have Calafiori. I know they're going to make Hincapié permanent. So you have that kind of sorted. Yeah. It would be nice to have a different profile there too. Like somebody who's kind of like press resistant, that has a good pass on him.
Both of them.
Yeah. I think that let's not Zinchenko him, like Zinchenko basically was like a number 10, ended up at left back, and like everybody just said, fuck that. You're never going to be in midfield again. I think he should be moved into midfield next season. I would love to see Miles Lewis-Skelly play in midfield.
Even as a off the bench for me, cool, I get it. Like, you're not a starter right now. I'd love to see it because He for me, maybe not so much now, but the confidence, the way he drives with the ball, the way he wants it. I think there's a scope for it. But I do understand. I'm not saying I agree, but I understand Arteta is against risk, or he's for calculated risk. And when you're doing that, Lewis-Skelly could dilly-dally. Eze can lose the ball. Wanyeri can lose the ball. As I was saying earlier, like I think when I look beyond Arsenal and I just look at Arteta, that's something you need to find that balance in terms of your own managerial journey. So we'll have to see how that one develops, man. What else we got? So, yeah, the thinking behind it was Wanyeri obviously wants to come back and be able to play a more prominent role in the future for Arsenal. So we love all of that. I was going to ask you what you made. What you made as well?
Did you see this thing about Kai? That Arsenal have concerns over Kai Havertz's long-term fitness after his knee flared up again in recent weeks.
Oh, send me a link. Have you got the link? Anyone got a link? Mods, please, for fuck's sake, man.
Here, let me put it in here.
Get well soon, Kai, man.
Look at me. I'm out here doing work.
For fuck's sake, man.
I sent it to you on the private chat.
For fuck's sake, man. You know what is expected, man. And you know what? It might not just be an Arsenal thing, because this is where I think players need saving for themselves, because these men push to come back. And now look, oh my God. Arsenal have concerns over Kai Havertz's long-term fitness after his knee flared up again in recent weeks. November setback was damaged ligaments in the same knee injured in August. How his body reacts to game time in the coming weeks is key. Now, that's obviously upsetting, and clearly your dog's vexed about that. Like, I know. I feel sorry for a lot of things, you know. It's a bit different, and I only care about Arsenal, I don't care about what Germany do, but it's a World Cup year for him. He's getting shagged. Bit different, but Eze, I don't know if you're going to be on the plane, Lewis-Skelly as well. This is actually upsetting because, again, I think me and you are quite aligned, and we've been saying it. Like, of course, you might like one player, I might like the other, but we can see whether you like these players or not. That we've got a long season. Everyone's a tool in the toolbox. And I did have that thinking with Kai, but Jess, I don't know what to say, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's that I didn't, but then that makes sense now because he was on the bench at one moment and then like he hasn't really come off of the bench. So it kind of makes sense now. Like he's had another setback. Listen, I hope that he can overcome this because the knee flaring up and consistently like having the knee problem, that's really bad. Like no matter what you think about Kai Havertz, you don't want to hear that a player could potentially have like long-term issues like this.
Your
like,
knee as well, man. Because that's a lot of the knee thing is more like how you react to it and all of those kind of things. Like I swear you had a knee injury when you were trying to show Totti your skills. So you're the best to tell us about how you recovered.
It was my ankle, but fair enough.
Oh yeah, the ankle. No. We'll wait till someone has an ankle injury to get in that, man.
But yeah, Kai, I hope that it's not like a long-term thing. But listen, this is why we have to put all of our like support and stuff behind Gyökeres and Jesus because they're going to be our striker options, whether you like it or not. You know, Kai is not going to come in and save us. So yeah, you know, we got to really hope like that these guys could pull out. And that's why, you know, the Inter game was a good little positive moment because they're going to be the ones that we're relying on recently, you know, or in you know, the games that are coming up. So that sucks for Kai. It really does.
I'm going to ask you this again, yeah, but like, what's going on with the injuries? Like, surely there's been no attacker that hasn't, like, what? Madueke's had a knock this season, right? I could be wrong. Eze's had a knock this season. Kai's had a knock. Gyökeres had a knock. Saka's had a knock. Trossard's had a knock. I think, obviously, Wanyeri weren't playing anyway.
Wait, Eze had a knock?
Pardon me? I'm sure Eze in the early months of the season, I'm sure I saw one of these guys say there's a knock. I'm sure. I could be wrong. I stand corrected, but it feels like all of our attackers have had. Jesus has had a knock and obviously recovered. It feels like everyone's had in the attacking ranks. Somebody's had some level of knock. Now, granted, where we're at in the season, I very much doubt, half of these professional footballers, especially the ones like us that are competing in multiple trophies, if it's not public knowledge, Rice has had a knock. They're probably all playing with some level of a knock, but the attacking ranks, I'm getting a bit nervous, man. I'm getting nervous, Jess.
It's nerve-wracking, isn't it?
This is not what I wanted to see, man.
It's not, but I mean, we got to go forward. We have to move forward. Like there's nothing we can do. And I'm just hoping that Gyökeres and Jesus can stay fit. You know, that's pretty much all we really can do.
Yeah. Do you see another big game? Saka got an assist. I think he got assisted this season 2 days ago against Inter Milan. Like lovely back heel for Gyökeres. What are you making of Saka's performance, and how big is it that he has to perform against Man United on Sunday?
I don't know, man. I think Saka's still a couple levels below what we know he can do. And I think
1,000,000%.
part of it is Saka wants it so badly. This is why I get so upset when people are saying like he's actively trying to like sabotage Gyökeres. When I see people saying like stupid shit like that, I'm like, you think that, look at that face. You think that face, like, look at it. You think he is trying to sabotage one of our players? Come
You're
on.
on a football pitch and you're trying to win a game. I'm not going to try and find Gyökeres or anybody. And even if that is the case, Jess, ain't there 10 other players on the pitch?
Yeah, he's not trying to do that. I think he knows that this is a big opportunity. He wants to win the league. He wants to be the guy. He's spoken about it so many times, and he's trying so hard to take responsibility that sometimes he's overdoing it. And that's what it is. And he's trying to get his own game off because he feels like that's what's best for the team, because that's always been what's best for the team. It has always been best for the team that Saka gets his game off. Like, that's always been what it is. So I think it's less about him trying to sabotage Gyökeres and more about the shift where it's a hard shift from everything has to go through me to, oh, there's this other guy now that I need to be feeding the ball to, and I don't know when to do it, so he needs to learn. That's not to say that he doesn't need to find Gyökeres. Like, there's been several times in recent games where he needs to be squaring that. But the part about there's like an intention to be malicious is where I draw the line. He's not trying.
I'm not honest. It's stupid if I'm honest. And I think I know why Saka's not bagging. Like he's too desperate to score. I've clocked it. You put a big ring on your missus's finger, your fiance. You probably got goal difference. I'm sure that wedding ain't cheap. He probably as much as he's getting money, he needs more in it. So I get it, Saka. I'll always defend Saka. Obviously, the form needs to go up. I think Saka's been good. We've been used to a great one, but like you said, the main thing, all of this, there's too much nonsense. Rice playing up for cameras, Saka's being greedy and this one and that one. And I just think it sounds great. And when you say these things bare times, you start believing it. Like nothing in, like, you know what? You could be right in it. You could be right. But it's not making sense. When you actually sit there and deep it sounds great. And when you got other fools that are going to say the same thing, it's confirmation bias. But come on, man. It ain't making no sense. What are you saying for this, though? Julian Álvarez links. Now, David Ornstein said we have an interest, and then he I think he got on, like, somebody quoted that we're interested in him for the summer, and David Ornstein said, I never said that type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he cooked him and he made him delete it. But in theory, what are you saying for Álvarez? Would you have it? Because some people are on it, some people are not. Is the attraction and the illusion different from the reality?
I mean,
like if we was watching him week in, week out.
If he came to the Premier League, I would be very disappointed if Arsenal were on that, because City have Haaland and he's not going to go back there. I don't know what Man United are on, and quite frankly, like, why would he go there?
I think he got Barca, to be fair.
Yeah, and then you look at Liverpool. They just bought 2 of the best strikers, and then you have Chelsea, who will definitely spend the money, but what direction are they going in? There's rumors now that Cole Palmer would be interested in maybe leaving as well, so Arteta, I don't see why you would not be front of the line for somebody like this, especially when you're looking at if Jesus doesn't have a long-term future, if something is going on with Kai's knee and you can't rely upon him physically, and Gyökeres has had an up and down year, why you would
known to sign strikers again when the other one don't work.
Yeah, so I don't know why you wouldn't want to be, and he can play in the Premier League too, so there's no element of can he do it? I think he'd be perfect for
versatile as well.
Yeah, versatile, tenacious, that South American spirit. I love that in a striker. I think South America makes the best strikers. I think he has the ability to create. He scores free kicks. He has the inevitable I know he hasn't scored in a long time for Atletico. I think that's more Atletico problem than him, but I would take him. I would, and I think we need a striker in the summer. What do you think?
I'd bring Julian Álvarez tomorrow, man. If we could bring him tomorrow, get it done, innit? But I just don't buy it. Like, again, I'd love to be proven wrong. Berta's obviously must know him somehow. I'm sure Arteta's rubbed shoulders with him. I wanted him when he was at City. I personally don't buy it per se, because I'm not saying he wouldn't. I'm not saying he couldn't be attracted with the London lifestyle and coming back to the Prem and maybe being a prominent, like a prominent guy. Maybe he, you know, they give him assurances you're above the Jesuses, Marinos, Kais, and Gyökeres. I just don't buy it, because you've won everything in football, full stop. You've done everything in the Prem. You're in Spain, which your family's probably more comfortable there because it's more akin to being in Argentina. Look over there at Barcelona, where there's a trajectory of people going from one club to the other. Lewandowski's not going to be there forever. I just think it goes there. But they have said British clubs have been interested. I just don't know, because as much as, obviously, if Gyökeres don't bang and, you know, and all those things, we might get a striker. I do think it's easy for fans to say, oh, in the summer, Trossard, Marino, Kai, Jesus go. As you know, yeah, it's not as easy to just get rid of these players. And there's also a knock-on effect if they all go. And I want a left winger. Like, you can get players for all sorts of fees. You know, Salah didn't cost a madness when he signed for Liverpool, when he was obviously in Italy. But if I'm looking at those as big ticket items, are we really going to splash out on a left winger and a striker if that's the case? And we don't know what else Arteta wants to do. I think we could do with a couple of centre mids, or at least one.
You know what I'll say, though?
We probably need another defender. I don't know, man. I don't buy it. I'll be real. I don't buy it.
There's no way that we can go into another season, even if we do win the Premier League, and not reinforce. I just don't think that.
Even more reason to reinforce. When you're at the top, the only way is down.
Yeah, I don't think you can afford to. You know, it's you can't rest on your laurels, and so we still won't need to shift players out. There'll still be things to take care of, you know, so players have, you know, 1 year left on their deal, 2 years left on their deal. There's decisions to be made. So I don't think you can overlook it. I still think we're in the market for a striker. I do, you know, so I would hate for this player to end back up in the Premier League. Like, if he ends up going to Barcelona, fair enough. But I think if I was Atletico Madrid and I was looking at the landscape of where I'm at in La Liga, you're not going to get as much from Barcelona. They're not going to spend the money, but you also don't want to fund a potential, you know, a rival, you know, so maybe they'd be more interested in selling to the Premier League. I would hate for him to end up somewhere else and we didn't put our hat in the ring, because the striker market is terrible, you know, so who else are you going to be able to get? I think we're in the market for a striker. We don't have a young striker coming through the academy that's going to be ready to like step up in a year or so. Why not? You know, I'd be open to, you know, even if Gyökeres has like an up and down season, to give him another season.
You're the number two when you bring in a bad boy,
and then bring in somebody else. I would love that. It's understanding where we are with Kai and Jesus as well. It's just whether or not the club would be able to convince him. And I think winning the Premier League would be a good way to convince him. I think you'd have to, because he wants to win shit. He wins a lot everywhere he goes.
He's completed football, like,
so
in a short space of time.
Yeah, he's not going to want to come to the Prem and then not win anything after he's been winning things. So yeah.
All right, let me ask you this then. Yeah, like, all right, cool. You get Julian Álvarez or you get whatever left winger. You can only get a bad boy left winger, because we all know, regardless of what Trossard and Nelly do, and maybe Eze out there, nobody struck that, like, made that their role, and no one's a long-term option. You can only have a big ticket item at left wing, like your left winger of your dreams, not even asking you for names, but left winger of your dreams, Julian Álvarez. Berta saying there's only funds for one of those positions in the summer. Where you going? Because I can't lie, I'm going left wing. I think it's been too long now. Like, it's been too long. Striker, I've accepted the whole build-up play and low blocks and all of that. But if you get me, if we do the Liverpool model, granted, it's not Firmino, Salah, and Mane, but if Saka's bagging, my man's bagging, we're chipping in all others, I'm kind of cool with the striker. But where are you at with it?
Well, I mean, do I think Julian Álvarez gets us closer to where we want to be than somebody like, let's say, Barcola? Yeah. You know, because a big ticket left wing is like Barcola in this market, you know. So if you get Barcola, you might still have some of the same issues that you have now, which is a lack of clinical finishing. So I'm looking for somebody that's who's been there and done that, won the t-shirt, done everything.
I hear it.
He can do it in the league. He's got it. Like, that's what I'm looking for. That being said, if we just stuck with the strikers that we had and we went out there and got a Barcola or something like that, I'd be happy with that. I just think, you know, if you looked at it and you saw like a front line of, let's say, as a Julian Álvarez and Saka, I'd be like, that looks fire. But if I have, I don't know. I feel like the striker makes a bigger difference. Maybe you guys think like Barcola, Saka, and Gyökeres looks great. You know, that's just me though.
I like Bacola, but I think people discount how much of a work in progress he is. He's obviously better than what we've got.
A big ticket left winger is in this market right now. Like he would
You're
be
probably relying on Berta to just, I couldn't tell you who, but just scout something in it. Because my biggest fear, and it's not a fear because I like him, but I do think it's not the same. But I remember Crystal Palace fans said, like, I was speaking to Crystal Palace fans when we got Eze. Obviously, I was gassed about Eze, but as you know, they're Crystal Palace fans. They're watching him. They were like, he's a moments man. I was thinking, okay, he's a moments man. We might be able to. I'm obviously seeing that. I think Anthony Gordon's a moments man. And I only mention Anthony Gordon because I like him, but people gas him. But why I'm mentioning him, Jess, is the Athletic, they keep saying, yo, the club like Gordon. We all know Newcastle's difficult, but that's probably do you know what? The attacking market is shit, really. Unless you do the scouting thing, is we should have got Kvaratskhelia when there was an opportunity, in it. Really.
If we end up with Anthony Gordon at the end of all this, I will just simply, I need space. I will need space I need a break from this relationship because you are abusive. You are an abusive person, Arsenal. What the fuck are you talking about? He is so ass. Like, I'm so sorry, but like that is a player that I just do not see it in. He's English. I get it. He's fast, and he's done us a couple of times. I get it.
On the Henry celebration.
But no. Go get something else. I can't do it. I can't deal. Every time I see, oh, Gordon is a good player, like Olu is saying, Gordon is a good player. I don't know.
I think he's decent, but it's too much peas, man. Because people were on signing Gordon, yeah, but then and I know I'm exaggerating, it's never gonna happen, but there's certain people that will say yes to Gordon and no to Vinicius because his attitude and it's gonna ruin the dressing room, bro. We're gonna get to a point, yeah, where if obviously you can scout players, you can find players, but we're gonna get to a point where we're not gonna need many players, but we're gonna need proper difference makers. And if it's like a household name thing, you're gonna have to pay the fees and the wages, like regardless. Like we are gonna get to that scenario, especially if we're winning by God's grace, we're winning multiple trophies and whatnot. Like we're gonna get there. There's no way around it. Would you have Dembele? I don't believe this for what it's worth.
Oh my God,
we've been linked with Dembele. Surely you can't say no to Dembele. False nine, bad boy, Ballon d'Or winner.
I don't think I could say no to Dembele, understanding that he's going to be injured.
But for God forbid, you know what? That's a good point. Are you
I'm taking him.
To play where though? Because I'm taking him, but like to play where?
I don't care. I feel like there's certain types of players that you just make it work.
You sign and figure it out after.
And now that would really suck because if I'm Ethan, I'm looking there from Marseille, like the fuck, like what the fuck, like this is crazy. But yeah, I'm taking Arteta actually. In fact, if you want to do a little shout out to Gabby, I know you know Gabby, my friend, like she does content too.
Big up Gabby, man.
She call it.
Did you get her on the platform, man?
You should, because this is her thing. But she said she would love the Turkish delight. She would love to have Gooner and Yildiz at Arsenal. And I'm like, I kind of hear that. Both.
Which one would you rather?
Well, we need Yildiz more, So
is
probably
do we though? Because what you just said with Gooner, I'm on that with Yildiz. You sign these men and work it out, and obviously you have to be versatile in the modern day. But I do think away from his ability, and even if he locks it down, he's more of a creative, tight space kind of guy. He can take you out on the flanks and whatnot, and he's great. But he's not going to be the inside forward that fullbacks necessarily fear. His bias, a bit like Eze's, to come inside. So it's a shiny new toy, but it does feel like the same old things a bit.
Isn't that kind of what we need, though? Like, think about our reality. Our reality is that, of course, we need some pace in this team. I'll say that for sure. Like, we need some pace. But I'm thinking about the majority of the situation that we usually see is a deep block. So I'm thinking about players that, one, can make something out of nothing, and two, can operate in small spaces and have the ability to like dribble through, find a small pass, things like that. Like big space players could do well at Arsenal, but also we've seen like somebody like Gyökeres, he's struggling because he doesn't have this big spaces. So I'm looking for technicians. And
but we got that already though. Like I'm not saying this
Do we have technicians? No, for real.
We do. Because what did you say there? You said about breaking down the low blocks and players that
Martinelli is not a technician.
Forget that. On paper, like I'm not getting at the players. It's the gaffer, because I do think based on what you said, you're right. But we would have another player and the gaffer. I think it's on the gaffer because Odegaard can do that. Eze's obviously gone on. Sorry, Wanyeri's gone on loan, but he can do that. Eze can do that. Zubi can do that. Couple of them, man, technically Marino you can get a trick out of him. Saka can do that, actually. I think it's on the gaffer, because we're going to bring in the next man and say the same thing. I think it's on the gaffer. I think that's on, like I said, I think I agree with your point, but I think we'd get Yildiz and me and you would still be sitting here kind of saying what we're saying. I think that is on the gaffer and the players, but the gaffer, surely.
We need more technicians. We need more
listen, you can never have too many technical players. Bring fucking Yildiz tomorrow, bro. Bring him. I would run him left wing, but I just think you get the best out of him centrally, man. My final thing for you, Jesse, I want to ask you this. Like, I'm going to read it out to you. Like somebody said he's smoking on cover, but the legend, Alan Smith, no disrespect to him, he has said he does not think Miles Lewis-Skelly is good enough for Arsenal. Miles is just not good enough defensively. He's been brought up as a midfielder. When he's had 1v1s, he has struggled. For example, when Frimpong was up against him in the Liverpool game, because he's not the quickest either and he's not a natural defender. He's got 3 players in front of him who can all defend better. So looking to the summer, I think it might be a case of selling him for PSR and all that. Being a young youth player is pure profit. So unfortunately, I think he might have to leave Arsenal. It only took him a year or so to utter this nonsense. But where are you at, Jess? You're the guest. I want to know your thoughts. Come on, Alan.
Respectfully, shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. I mean, that is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard.
Only true thing he said is if we sell him, it's pure profit for me.
I don't. For me, you do not sell a player that had the first season that Miles Lewis-Skelly had.
Mm-hmm.
You don't turn your back on him because he's had a typical second season slump. You don't. Like, this is a type of player that has like a very unique, high quality skill set.
And who says he doesn't want to stay at Arsenal?
Yeah,
he might be frustrated, but who said he wants to move?
Say that? Like, be serious for 5 seconds. Like, no, I'm so sorry. We have other players that we can look at to get rid of to sell. I'm not selling Miles Lewis-Skelly. You have to pry him from my cold dead fingers. There's just no way. We're not selling Miles Lewis-Skelly. I've never heard of something so ridiculous in my life.
I think it's ridiculous, yeah, but I'm not going to sit here and lie. I won't necessarily say I can't see reality where the club go. As much as I like Lewis-Skelly and I think it's nonsense. Hey, you know what? Wanyeri has a banging loan spell. We might bring in next ones. Like if you bring in Galera and Yildiz to humour what we said, they might say, you know what? He shelled it down at Marseille. That's 40, 50 million there. Miles Lewis-Skelly, you're not going to, if you sold him today, you're not going to get what you got last season because obviously we're in a different time zone at the moment. You get P's in it. You could argue they're both conservatively £50 million players each. That's 100 million quid. Silliness from me. Especially because that's what you said earlier about players maybe moving on next season or the season after that.
We're going to have some space. We're going to have some space. We need to hold on to these players. And also, I just feel like Ethan and Miles, like their ceilings, like I'm not saying this like as an Arsenal fan, we've seen plenty of players come to the academy and think that they're going to be something that they're not. I don't think Ethan and Miles Lewis-Skelly are like the Patinos. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, we think that there's something that they're not. I genuinely feel like they are special players. That's why they broke through and did what they did. I'm not going to sell them just for them to end up at a rival and blam me for 10 years. I'm not doing that. So no, ain't no way. Because the first thing that happens is we sell them somewhere and then they end up back in the Prem and then it's going to look crazy. Absolutely not.
Exactly. No. All they need to do is just wait, be a bit patient, take their opportunities. And I actually think with Miles Lewis-Skelly, obviously because of what you said, you've been thrust into the limelight. Bearing in mind, he only really got that chance because there was injuries. I think you're at the right stage of your development. I think you are going to struggle with consistency. You are going to be hit with roadblocks and adversity. The things that Lewis-Skelly needs to improve is what I expect of a 19-year-old. Now, obviously, let's defend a bit better now. I don't know what you and Gabriel Heinz are doing because we heard you meant to get better there. You're cool. And actually, yeah, as much as I will always advocate for these young players, actually, it's quite nice that these players are in positions of just being young players because I didn't want to get to what we've been before, which there was elements with Wanyeri and Miles Lewis-Skelly and definitely the Nellys, the Smith Rowes, the Sakas, where your age almost becomes irrelevant. We're literally living or dying by your performances. We can kind of let kids be kids type of thing. Now, obviously, nobody wanted this season for Miles Lewis-Skelly. You want him to lock down left back and obviously get in the mix for England, but unfortunately, this is the reality of trying to compete on forefront and trying to win stuff now. Like the players that are showing more consistency and whatever the manager's game plan wants, which I do think Miles Lewis-Skelly is a bit shaky defensively, but build up players, stop down the left per se how it used to be. You're just not in the plans at this moment in time. But the beautiful thing about football in life, it can change very quickly. And it's
Yeah.
a long season. It's been a long season already, and we've only got another 4 or 5 odd months. So everybody relax. Jess is bang on with MLS, man. But we've kept Jess here for too long. Go on.
The last thing I want to say about Miles, and why I'm also like very like kind of protective, is I think based on his season last season and some of the way that people were talking about him, not that I'm saying that Alan Smith is necessarily one of these people, but I do feel like people have been waiting.
I was saying his next actually Cohen now.
Yeah, I think some people have been waiting to humble him. And so I think people are happy that he's going through this tough moment, and they're overdoing it at times. And we knew that this would come as well, because when you do so well, they build you up to break you down. And when you do stuff, they're sitting up with their microphones talking about, oh yeah, you know, he should be humble and he should be this. They're waiting for a moment to humble you. We don't need to even be thinking about Miles, anything but him just getting back to form. That's it.
Jess, it's weird you said that, yeah, because I don't know if you saw on Twitter. You see the guy, I don't even know if he does it, but you see the guy that does the morals or whatever, the Banksy you or whatever. He randomly made a post, yeah, and I don't know what he meant by it, but he was like, "Oh, I've met Miles Lewis-Skelly." His mum, Miles Lewis-Skelly's mum, actually replied to it via like the #1 fan club. But he was like, "Oh, I've met Miles Lewis-Skelly. He speaks a lot less urban when his mum's in the room." I was like, What do you mean by that urban word? Yeah. What does that mean? I mean, we'd all talk a bit better if our mum was in the room versus not. But that's almost like they love your rhythm, not your blues. That's a bit sad. As you said that, I think it's quite interesting. I think there's a lot of that internally. Crazy.
Yeah, no, I think they've been waiting to humble him. You know,
draw him out.
He did the celebration. So I mean,
Haaland started it, and Haaland never had a problem. But
yeah, it offended them to their core. So we just need to support Miles. He's going through a difficult time, but I'm, happy about, I just saw Arsenal posted a little comp of his performance against Inter, which always leads me to believe that Arsenal also know that they're going through a difficult time. So they're trying to get him some positivity. And I think we need to do that as well. Alan Smith, respectfully, no, thank you.
Doing way too much. But do you know what the saddest thing is? Well, Miles Lewis-Skelly ain't going to be the first. He's definitely not going to be the last. They big you up to quiet you down. Unless you do the Kante and Saka thing, in which they make out that they're, despite the fact that they're grown men, that they're children, we all know the one thing they hate is people like that being a bit confident. Like, we all know there is evident underbelly things and there's evident class things, because it doesn't necessarily just happen to black players, but it's quite prominent. And then you throw in the Arsenal tax, where we're hated as a football club in the media anyways, and it's never going to stop. Miles Lewis-Skelly, at the end of the day, you're playing for Arsenal, you're getting peas. These people will talk. All of these guys will ask you for a picture. Just let your football do the talking, and let's win some fucking trophies, man. Like,
agreed.
Feels like we're ending this on a bit of a sour note with this now, isn't it? Really?
No, it's not. It's just, for me, it's a positive note, because ultimately we're both agreeing that we're going to support Miles, and
have to.
He's going to come up with a big moment this season. I think almost everybody, when we look back on the season, if we do win stuff, everybody will have a big moment. So,
long may it continue. Jess, it's always a pleasure. Obviously, as you know, the final thing I'm going to ask you, prediction for the Man United game. I'm going with a shaky 2-1.
Don't make me
shaky
think about
2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, it's giving 2-1. It's giving a nasty 2-1. Like,
them to take the lead.
They take the lead off of some nonsense, and then we score a set piece, and then somebody comes up with something. Saka comes up with a big goal.
Yeah, Saka needs it, man. You know what? Yeah, I don't really care who scores, but if I could, I would like a Gabriel Magalhaes or someone from a set piece, but naturally Saka and Gyökeres, and it'd be nice for Gyökeres to set up Saka or Saka to set up Gyökeres. Like, everybody needs the goals, but they're the two most talked on. Not really, because Odegaard and Eze, but they're quote unquote the most talked about attackers, isn't it?
Yeah.
But who cares? Let's grab their 3 points.
We need that for sure.
Of course, Jess is a proper guest. That's why she's here. She's one of the best on this YouTube space, man. So make sure you're subscribing. I can't imagine you're not. Make sure you turn on your notification bells, and we'll see you lot next week, man. Jess, when are you gonna do your reaction to the United game?
I'm doing
within the hour of full time.
I'm doing a watch along for it, so it'll start.
Oh yes, let's tune into that, folks.
Yeah, watch along, and then it's a double watch along, because we're also going to be watching Napoli and Juventus as well. So just tune in an hour before kickoff, and I should be live. So
exactly, and kickoff will be 4:30.
Are you going to be on? Are you going to be on Talk Sport? Are you going to? You gonna do it?
No, I didn't get a call up. I'm on a 1 year thing now. It's watch along business, man. It's watch along business. When's the next time I'm there? I want to say 2 weeks, actually. I want to say 2 weeks.
Oh, we got a schedule. We got to schedule a regular guest.
To be fair, to be fair, they kind of just shout me, but I do feel guilty about going there because I do like to be with the watch-alongs. Because obviously, I normally race home and just do a little reaction stream. Everyone's like, "Oh, I missed you, DJ. I would have loved to have been there with you." Like it breaks my heart, people. But we gotta do what we gotta do, man. We gotta do what we gotta do, man. So yeah, man. Jess has told you where her content is. I'm pretty sure there's videos on her platform, so go and check that out. Let's let her get on with our day. And again, congratulations to you lot in the chat for making it to the end. We appreciate you lot.
I was like, thank you.
No, we need congratulations for. Oh, just the fact that you're able to walk straight and whatnot, like after mashing up your ankle, we need congratulations for, man. And let's congratulations in order. We see you doing your thing, like when you went to the Wrexham game and all the other stuff, especially your TikToks, man, because it's about football, but I find them interesting because it's like she does follow her on TikTok, does a very good job, like talking about like kits and all other stuff. Like Jess is quite interesting on TikTok, man. Always think this can't be the girl that embarrassed herself in front of Totty, but she's doing her thing. So follow her on the platforms there, people, man. But yeah, big up you lot in the chat. Jess, we link up soon, man. Everyone, peace. Come on, you gunners.
Bye.
Peace. She had to say bye. One love, folks.